Hi, my name is Nathaniel Kennedy Noble. I'm a data science solution specialist here at SAS, and today I'll be talking about crosstabs and feature engineering in the context of marketing. So first, let's look at two important definitions. So first, crosstabs is a summary of the relationships of two elements, could be hierarchies or singular variables, in an easy to ingest tabular form. And the next definition is feature engineering. It's the process of using domain knowledge of the data to create features that make the machine learning algorithm work. So basically, in structured data, you have rows and columns. So the idea of feature engineering is really adding columns to your data that you believe will enrich the data. Okay, so now I'm going to take you through a demo flow where we start by getting the data from Twitter. We're going to explore the data by visualizing it in different forms and applying filters. We're then going to do some feature engineering by adding new columns to the data. And then with those new columns, we're going to assess the different relationships in a crosstab. All right, let's start with the results. That way, if you're feeling confident, you can start working on creating these visuals and follow along if you get stuck. So first, we pull this data in using trending, market, and market research data in the area of Toronto. We then visualized the content of the tweets with a word cloud and applied some filters. Once our data was cleaned, we created two new columns, feature engineering, and then finally assess the relationship in a crosstab. Let's start from the beginning, so let's see how we could actually build this out. So we're going to minimize all these visualizations, add a data source just to show you how I could pull this data. We're going to use the already existing one just for the sake of time. So for instance, if I use the word marketing or market research, and then I could search within a specific area. So Twitter does this by using geocode. You have the lat, longitude, and then the radius from that coordinate. And about 3,000 and some tweets. So first things here is we have a couple different languages. So let's take a look at which ones those are. So we have English, French, and Spanish. So we're going to do this by taking the author language. You see that there's about 3,302 tweets. Another way we could visualize this is looking at the author location. So is everything in Toronto as we queried Twitter to look in? Let's see. Looks like a lot of Ontario. Oh, Europe. We don't want. And what you'll notice is that you have a filter on the visual, and then you also have a filter on the whole data set. So if you want to do other visualizations from this, you could actually filter on the whole data set, or you could just change the visualization here, and you'll retain this. So for instance, if I wanted to then take this into, so already we got the data, we explored it. So our next step is to really create a new feature on this data. But before we do that, we're going to look at the element that we want to create a feature on, which is the actual tweet itself. you can see, my filters are actually retained. So what type of information or topics were pulled out? So we had social media, jobs, hiring, career arc. Interesting. So you know what? I'm going to create a feature that's looking for tweets that have apply. What's great about our text analytics is that we could actually click on apply and see all the different tweets that have this. But if we want to see this in a numerical way, we're going to go and create a new calculated item. All right, so we want to create a new calculated column. We go here, new calculated column. We're looking for apply in the 8,000 and some tweets. So visually, we're going to create a formula. We're going to start with a if-else. And in that if, we want to include a comparison, but we want to do a text comparison. So if a tweet, which is body in our case, contains apply, we also want to make sure that this is character to ensure that we have these as text strings. We want to return, so if a tweet contains apply, return yes, and if it doesn't, return no. We could actually preview these results, see if the formula is working, and a lot of it doesn't have apply, so let's do it on 1,000. Oh, I see a yes, so it's working. Perfect. So here's our feature of apply. And you could actually duplicate this visualization to save all the filters. That were created, which is great. And then we're going to remove these elements and we're going to stick this into here. So there are 16 tweets that actually have apply in it. So out of 3,000 and some tweets, there's actually 16. So if I was looking for a job, which I'm not because I love my job right now, that'd be pretty cool. I just filtered through a lot of different tweets to get a very specific result. So what I did is also, based on my larger data set, created a feature that looked for the word social in all the different tweets. And then I also did the word media. So why I did that is because most of the time, those two words come together. So you always have social media. So I want to see if there's a relationship. And what's interesting is in Hamilton, Ontario, it's always used together or it's just not used at all. And then we have the same occurrence. Oh, there's Kitchener, you have a few that actually use social but didn't use media. Oakville, they stick to the rules. And then in Toronto, we actually have some occurrences, again, where it's like a yes, no, and a no, yes. So that's some interesting points of the data. Maybe look for those occurrences. And then you have your summaries and your side columns. And what's cool is you could always sort, ascending, descending. You could aggregate those measures, so it could be, in this case I use document IDs, so you don't want to sum that because those would be ridiculous numbers. You actually want to count each instance of it. Yeah, and that concludes the flow, going from simply getting the data, exploring it, creating some new columns, and then creating crosstabs and assessing the relationships. Hope you liked it.